Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. I'm your host, Lasella Monova. Today, I want to talk to you about the topic that is very close to my heart, and the topic is drama. I've been coaching on this several of my clients recently, and I felt that it's high time that I did an episode about what it is that is a drama, how we define it, why we need to talk about to understand how it's affecting us, and of course, what to do about it, right? So, you probably have a lot of your own definitions of drama. I have my own, and I also will give you a definition for my client. And the reason why it's important that you define for yourself what drama is so that you are clear on when your brain is getting into the drama field versus to the solution field, right? So I feel like in life there's always these two fields that we can spend a lot of time and energy on. One is the solution field, the other is a drama field. And drama field is optional, but a lot of the times we tend to hang out a lot in that field and then feel exhausted or feeling like we can't really do anything about it and feeling powerless. And that's what we want to avoid. And of course, I will talk to you in a minute about why we need to understand our drama. So, if you were to define what is a drama for you, how would you define it? How do you see yourself being dramatic about things? And when do you say that, oh, I'm being dramatic versus I'm actually just reflecting on things and understanding things, right? So here is how I would define drama for myself. And the way that I'm thinking about it is that drama is when we lack clarity. In other words, whatever is the opposite of clarity is for me drama. And I tend not to like things that are like all over the place. And for me, that's our drama brain is just trying to offer lots of different ways of looking at things without really having a clear direction or clear understanding of where we're going. That's one way of defining drama. So recently, I have been having a lot of drama in my own life because of disappointments that I have had, and therefore I felt like in those moments as if like all the roads have been closed, and I just felt like I was in this like turmoil of not really getting out of there, right? And now, as I'm speaking today, in this video, I feel a lot clearer, a lot more purposeful, a lot more focused. And that is for me where that's the absence of drama. The other way that I can define it is putting unnecessary judgment to a situation. That's how I think would be another um, like fairly descriptive way of how we can describe drama. So, for instance, the example that comes to mind is that at some point in my life in the past, I uh, didn't tolerate at all when people came late to whatever I was inviting them to. I was very strict about it. I didn't understand why people wouldn't respect other people's times. So I had a lot of judgment about it. And then I remember one particular scene from my student life in Germany. My German friend was supposed to come for dinner, and I invited her at 7, and I usually used to eat very early. And then she came around 7:25 or something. And I remember feeling like a lot of these judgments of how could she, why would she, did that doesn't she know me at all, and all of this would be a drama, right? The non-dramatic way of communicating to her that I don't like when people are late is I could say, I know that you have your own way of doing things, but if we are meeting for whatever appointments, I would love if you could come on time because otherwise, um, I will be waiting for 10 minutes and then I'm doing other things because I don't like waiting, right? That will be a non-dramatic way of setting a boundary and telling her my preferences. So the way that I have seen my client define for herself because we were coaching her on how her brain gets dramatic around failures, around mistakes. And the way she says is that it's a negative complication of the situation that doesn't need to be complicated. And I think that's a very great way of defining it, because it's in fact when it comes to transitioning, when it comes to new assignments, or when it comes to any situation where we are worried, where we are fearful, maybe where we're uncertain, in those moments, it's very likely that our brain wants to hijack us to be dramatizing about things, right? And in her case, the example she was giving me is that she writes an email and she's in a new assignment now, and she writes an email, and then afterwards she checks several times if she sent to the right people, if she did the attachment, if the text was right. And there's a lot of this drama energy around it, instead of just sending it and trusting that everything is fine. And then later, finding, in case she finds out that it was a mistaken email or it was sent to the wrong people, then she would apologize and then do it right. Instead of doing all of that, she was engaging with herself, with her own brain of, oh my God, am I doing this right? Am I really doing this the way that I'm supposed to? And all of this drama energy, I call it, comes up. Now, we need to understand um, why it's important that we talk about drama, right? Why um, drama is something that we need to understand for ourselves in terms of how we dramatize and why we dramatize. And the reason why we need to understand is, especially when it comes to transitioning, is one of the first reasons is because it affects us in ways that keeps us making doubting ourselves, keeps ourselves second guessing a lot of things, especially when it comes to decision, when it comes to going to the uncertain parts of our lives, when we're transitioning, when we're searching for a new job, or when we're creating our own business, or whatever the thing that we're doing. Drama affects us in so many ways of second guessing ourselves and keep feeling like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Is this working? It's not working. And don't worry, my brain does that even up these days as well. So it's something that we can recognize and do something about it, which I will be talking a bit later. But one of the main reasons I would love for us, everyone, to define what is our drama brain is telling us, how drama looks like in our own versions of our own dramatic way, right? Whatever, excuse me, whatever we just define that drama is, understanding how it's affecting us is the first reason why we need to understand our drama. The second reason is because we keep second guessing every bit of the time, it becomes so much heavy on our brains, and our brains wants to get us to a relief place, and therefore it's likely then we will give up on what we're doing because we keep second guessing and doubting ourselves, right? So therefore, not only understanding our drama in terms of how it influences us, but also how it may affect us giving up on things that we're actually doing and working on towards going for. And therefore, we need to really understand, is this giving up, or is this actually based on certain data that we're making changes in our journey that we're going for, right? The third reason that I have put on my notes, and I'm going to be looking at them because I wrote all of these reasons down. The third reason why we need to be understanding our drama is that it will, it's one of our brain's mechanisms to avoid uncomfortable feelings, to avoid feeling of worry, to avoid feeling of embarrassment, to avoid feeling of others judging us. Whatever the feeling that we're afraid of, our brain wants to dramatize. Just like in the client's case, she emails people and then she starts dramatizing around it. because she's worried that what if they will judge me if I send the wrong email? What if they are doing this? What if they are doing that? And all of this feelings that we don't want to be feeling. Instead, our brain wants to dramatize so that we can avoid feeling those. But it would be much easier to feel those feelings instead of dramatizing. And I will talk about this in a minute. But it's important that as soon as we avoid the feelings that we are not wanting to feel because of our drama brain, then what ends up happening is that next time when we're trying to do the email, or next time we're going for the transitioning, next time we are talking to the same person that we have drama around, then the conversation will become a lot heavier. Conversation will become like, I don't really want to talk to this person, or vigilant about what we're saying and how we're saying. So therefore, we just add additional pressure that we actually don't need to do. And therefore, our job in that moment is to actually learn how to feel whatever the feeling that our drama brain is wanting us to avoid. The next reason, that's the fourth one, is that when we do dramatizing, we will end up wasting a lot of our not only energy but time as well. And I have seen myself do this recently, where I was literally not even working some of the days because I was so much in drama in my own head. And I could have done a lot of work in that day, but instead I was just indulging in my own broad drama of, oh my God, why is this? How is this? And all of these things, right? So therefore, understanding our drama and how we are dramatizing, and the more we dramatize, the more dramatic things get, right? And the more dramatic things get, then the more our brain wants us to spend time on it, because our brain is saying it's a huge problem that we need to be solving, even though maybe it may not be huge, but our brain wants us to believe that it's huge, and therefore we are likely to waste a lot of time and energy on this. The fifth reason why we need to be understanding the drama and how we do this and how we engage in it is because our brain uses drama also as a way to gather more evidence for whatever we are believing. So if we are believing that this is not going to work, then when the first obstacle comes in our transitioning journey, in whatever the journey that we're going through, then our drama brain wants us to create, like, show us more evidence of how this is not going to work, right? And therefore ignoring all the data, or ignoring all the factual information, ignoring or diminishing our expertise, diminishing, devaluing of what we already know, what we already have. It has such a powerful way to hijack our brain in the way that we don't really look at what we're capable of, how we're capable of fixing things, how we're capable of going through those obstacles. All of this, our brain will not likely to let us do, because our brain wants to dramatize a lot in that moment, right? So therefore, it's crucial that we understand how our brain wants to use drama as a way to gather more evidence of how not great we are, how we were not supposed to transition in the first place, why could we, why did we listen, and all of this drama will come up, which is not useful. Therefore, we need to understand what are the ways that we dramatize and how to stop them on time so that they don't affect us in major ways that we don't want to, right? So now let's go to what we can do in that moment, or even in general. That's what becomes very important, seeing the reasons why we need to understand them, right? So one of the first things we can do is, besides defining how and when we dramatize, right? Because we can observe and start seeing what are the occasions where we tend to dramatize and why we dramatize. It might be always great self-awareness tools that we all can gather. And I even suggest to my clients that challenge yourself to go on drama-free fasting days or fasting week, whatever it is. So the way that you would fast on religious holidays or for religious purposes that we know how to do this, if we did that with drama and detoxing our bodies and minds of drama, how would our life be? Challenge yourself to go through that. That way you will experience, like, observe yourself to see how much of the drama that you had, and if you didn't have that, then how much of the time and energy you would have actually to do the things that you want to do. I have done it many times and I continue doing it. So therefore, the first thing is self-awareness of observing how much we dramatize, where and what occasions we dramatize. We can start seeing easily the patterns of, oh, these are the situations, or these are the people around whom I dramatize, right? So that's one way that you can start observing it. The next thing you can do in the time when you are dramatizing and you're observing that your brain is dramatizing it, find the feeling that you're avoiding to feel, whatever it is. Is it worry? Is it oh, excuse me. Is it worry, or is it like fear of failure, or is it a fear of mistake, or fear of judgment? Whatever it is, find that in your body and start feeling it. Allow whatever the feeling there needs to be. Just start feeling it. This is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on for me now, instead of engaging in the drama, right? So instead of like, oh my God, how could this happen to me? I shouldn't have done this. I'm such an idiot, or whatever the self-talk or negative turmoil, whatever your brain wants you to be engaging in. Instead, focus on the feelings. And when you start focusing on the feelings of whatever you are avoiding to feel, instead you just allow that feeling to be there and start allowing, like listening into your body and into the feelings, then your brain starts calming down. And it works every time. So absolutely go and try this. Now that we have calmed down, now we can then start going to the solution land and start asking ourselves very specific questions as to how am I going to solve this? What am I going to do? What are the ways that I can do this in the way that's not dramatic? So if it was about you setting boundaries around someone else's behavior, you could ask yourself, okay, next time I do not want that person to behave this way, then how can I request that person that we have a conversation in this way, right? So that would be a non-dramatic way of setting boundaries where you leave the drama out. If your brain is dramatizing around it's not working, the transitioning was supposed to be this way and now it's this way, and how could you, and all of this, after having felt whatever there to feel, you can start asking questions of, okay, what is exactly is not working, and where is the data to show me that is the case? And as soon as you tell your brain that where is the data, what are you basing it on? Are you basing it on the math or on data instead of on emotions? Then you start getting clear as to maybe there is no data. And even if there is data, is that really enough? Or what is the data actually telling us? So you start getting into curiosity and learning more about whether you need to even dramatize in the first place or not. It can be also around decisions, right? So even if when you're making decision whether to leave or not, whether to hire me as a coach or not, or someone else as a coach or not, whether to do this thing or not, whether you are wanting to have more evidence for who is doing this and who is not, whatever the drama around is. So if you remove the drama, instead went to the solution, then what are the decisions you need to make? You can even write them all down. I usually always write them down and say, okay, here are my thoughts around this decision making. That will be the drama part, right? And as soon as I write them all out, then it becomes like so much clearer and say, okay, here are the decisions I want to make around transitioning, around hiring this coach, around implementing this task, around making things happen, around making this money, whatever it is. This is the decision I need to make. Here are the actions I need to take in order to implement that decision. And then here are the dates when I'm going to do that. Then it becomes very clear instead of going into the turmoil of drama, right? So as you can see that we human beings are actually very powerful at not only observing our thoughts, our drama brain, but also calming ourselves down and then going to the solutions by asking ourselves very specific questions and feeling empowered to answer them and implement them and then learn from them instead of staying in this drama space. Therefore, I really highly recommend for you, whatever the drama that you feel like you're going through, understand for yourself when something that you experience becomes dramatic. And how do you know it's dramatic? Maybe you know it by words, you know it by feelings. If the words are dramatic, like, oh my God, I'm going to die, or all of us are doomed, or whatever, these are all dramatic words, right? Now, feelings that you may recognize it by, I feel powerless, or I feel defeated, or I feel worried. All of this might be feelings that indicate that drama is coming. And once you start being aware and observing yourself, then you start also allowing and feeling those feelings. And then the third step is always going to the solutions and directing your mind intentionally to go to the solutions so that you can start solving the problem instead of exacerbating it, instead of making it huge, right? And therefore, as soon as you start learning the skill for yourself, then you start also understanding that you don't even allow other people to, like in the conversations with you don't really stay with them on the dramatic side of things, but rather you start guiding even the conversation, steering the conversation to the solutions. And therefore, even in your relationships, other people stop being dramatic around you. Instead, they're like, okay, how can we solve it and what can we do about it? And that way, like relationships become so much easier, so much more constructive or more clear, instead of being heavy and emotional and oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do and how am I gonna solve, and it doesn't become this unsolvable problems that you feel powerless around, right? So therefore, my dears, if you would like to work on becoming drama free and going to the solutions all the time and making your transition successful, whichever transition you're going for, I would love to help you in this and I would love to hear from you. I would love to coach you. So message me or email me for coaching. Until then, have a beautiful week and talk to you very soon. Thank you.